Assalamualaikum and a good afternoon to Datin Fadilah binti A. Bakar, Deputy Director Learning Sector Selangor State Education Department, Ketua Penolong Pengarah Kanan Bahasa Sektor Pembelajaran Jabatan Pendidikan Negeri Selangor, Puan Hajah Hanisah binti Muhammad Yusof, Cik Zahira binti Zulkifli, Selangor State Language Officer, our panel of presenters, and all attendees. Welcome to another webinar session. This webinar is brought to you by Selangor State Language Department. The title of today's webinar is Coffee Talk from Across the Globe, delving into the jar of experience of teachers and parents. Thank you everyone for making the time to be with us today. I'm Fadilah and I'll be your moderator for today. All right, before we start, let me lay out a few housekeeping matters. First, the attendance link will be shared before the end of the webinar session, so please do look out for that. Second, during the webinar, you can type in the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen if you have any questions or comments related to today's topic. The speakers will be answering questions at the end of their session. But if you missed out your questions during the webinar, fret not, as we will sure to follow up afterwards. And last, we would like to encourage you to share today's webinar with your social network. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to have our Deputy Director, Learning Sector, Selangor State Education Department, Datin Nur Faridah binti A. Bakar, for our session today. So, to mark the start of the webinar, I would like to invite Datin Nur Faridah binti A. Bakar to give the opening speech. Please welcome.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Nur Fadilah. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everyone here. Salam GPN Selangor terbilang. Alhamdulillah, we are here in the coffee talk. I like this coffee talk very much, where we can share. We have 3 teachers who will be sharing in today's session. Okay, Fatihah from France, Sumayyah, Sumayyah from Australia. Mr. Ma is teaching here in Malaysia. So we have everyone here who will be sharing their experience. So this is a priceless platform where we can share. Okay, sharing knowledge, sharing experiences are very good. It will create new synergy. New synergy for teachers to teach. We need teachers need motivation. Teachers need support, especially now during this pandemic era, where we are facing with many issues and challenges. Many issues and challenges. From wherever we are around the globe, we know that we are facing with different issues and challenges. So from our friends in these 2 countries, in 3 countries, you'll be sharing tips, you'll be sharing how to teach our ESL learners, where they can stay put and listen to the teacher's teaching. It's not easy to teach students nowadays without face-to-face communication. With this new technology, with this fast development of technology, teachers need to learn, need to have the skills how to teach our students from far, not facing with them, not seeing their eyes face to face. So it's very important for us to get hold of our students. It is important for us to know their needs, okay, the student needs. What do they need? Probably when we are facing, we teach them face to face, probably the needs are different. While teaching them online, probably their needs are different. So not talking about teachers only, parents also, they have their own challenges. While the students are at home, so it's not easy to teach them. Probably parents can teach them in other languages, but probably English, it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard for others to teach English. Furthermore, it is not our mother tongue. Some of them, it is the third language that our students are learning. Yeah, probably in Australia is different. In France, probably it's also not a first language. In Australia, is their first language. Even so, we are facing also with many challenges, many issues. We have to look at the background of our students. We have to look at their culture, the diversity that our students are in a different group. So it also a challenge to us. Yeah, different culture need different way of teaching. Need different way of catering techniques that we have to cater to them. So today I'm looking forward to listen to Fatihah, to Ma Payfen, and to Raja Sumayyah, right? Raja Sumayyah. You have a lot of experiences. So the sharing session today is very good, and I love to get more teachers from other countries. Um, Probably we think that we are in a very different situation from other teachers from other countries. Probably we are facing the same challenges, but how can we cater to our students? Yeah. So from what I've learned, okay, teachers need to have skills, experiences, and need to pursue professional development through experiences, through sharing of knowledge. So here I would like to thank our three teachers here. I would like to thank also English unit in ZPN Selangor for making this coffee talk happen. Yeah, today. Yeah. Thank you so much, Fatihah,
Thank
Sumayyah,
you.
also Ma. Yeah, I would like to see you again. All right. Good luck. Thanks again from us.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Thank you so much for the speech, Datin and Farida. All right. Next, I would like to invite Puan Hajah Hanisa binti Muhammad Yusuf, State Language Officer, to deliver her speech. Please welcome Puan Hajah Hanisa. All right. Puan Hajah Hanisa.
I'm sorry. Puan Haja is not here with us today, so it's okay. We can just continue with our session. All right. Thanks, Fadilah.
All right. Okay, problem. All right. So, for today's session, all right, we have three amazing presenters. Okay, all this while we have been seeing what Malaysian teachers have been doing in school. So today we are bringing something different. Okay, so GPN Selangor decided to do something very different and ask teachers a teacher's experience in other parts of the world. All right. So joining us today, we have two presenters who are currently teaching in Malaysia and France. And we also have a mother who is currently pursuing her PhD study in Australia. So drawing from their experiences, okay, the two presenters here today will share their challenges in teaching second language learners, the strategies they use to help support the second language learners, as well as sharing their methods of giving feedback to the second language learners. All right, so another presenter, all right, a mother, will share her experience as a parent of a second language learner. She will share her experience on the issues her daughter faced as an ESL learner in Australia. Also, she will share the strategies used by the teachers to help support her daughter, and also the feedback they used to motivate her daughter as a second language learner. All right, so be sure to stick around. And now we are pleased to introduce our first presenter, Tiha. All right, Tiha, a brief introduction for Tiha is that Tiha received her Bachelor of Education from Macquarie University, Sydney, and postgraduate certificate French Studies and French Language Alliance from Paris. All right, she has experience teaching in SMK Lembah Bidong, Terengganu. Also, she has experience in teaching in Arab American Bilingual Academy in Kuwait, and is currently working as an English language teaching assistant, working with primary homeroom teachers to teach English periods in France. Hi, Tiha. All right. So next, our second presenter today is Ma Fei Fan, who is currently teaching in SJKC Pandamaran B, Klang. He has a degree from IPG Tuanku Bainon, majoring in science, education, and minor in English. He also obtained his master in English as a second language from University of Malaya and is currently pursuing his PhD in University of Malaya. And joining us today is also Sumayyah, who is currently in Brisbane, Australia. She has a Bachelor with Honours degree in TESOL from Plymouth Marjan University, United Kingdom, and a Master's degree in Corporate Communication from UPM. She used to be an English teacher at 2 SJKCs and 1 SK during her teaching years before joining PPD Hulu Langat as the Delo for primary schools. So teachers of Hulu Langat, here's your previous Delo, all right? Okay. Currently, she's pursuing her PhD in Communication and Organizational at QUT, Australia. So we are thrilled and honored to have all the amazing presenters presenting with us today. So welcome Tiha, Ma, and Sumayyah.
Thank you. Hi, Fad.
Hi. All right. So now for today's session, Coffee Talk from across the globe, delving into the jar of experience of teachers and parents. All right. I would like to first start off with Tiha.
Yeah.
All right, Tiha. Okay.
Hello.
So based on your experience as an ESL teacher in France, all right, what are the challenges you faced and how did you overcome them?
All right. Thank you, Miss Moderator, Miss Fadilah. And then also special thanks to Datin Nur Farida binti Abu Bakar, the Deputy Director of Learning Sector. And then Cik Zahira Zulkifli, English State Language Officer. And Sumayyah and also Ma. And everyone who are present now. All right. So talking about challenges, I think, well, obviously there are a few challenges that I faced being an ESL teacher abroad. Well, the first one, I would say, like, it's really challenging actually to get a job itself. I mean, like, the fact that, like, when you set out, you know, abroad and then and you are not a native speaker, it's quite challenging to land a job itself because, like, it is quite common that if you go abroad, like especially if you are in the Middle East or in Europe, then to teach English or any foreign languages in that matter, like people would always look for native speakers, right? It is quite common to see that. And like, it is quite political, I would say, yes. But yes, so that's the first challenge. And then the second challenge, obviously, in France, English is not really a second language at all. It is a foreign language. It is really, like, for example, in Malaysia, it is quite common to say that English is a second official language that exists alongside Malay. We can say that, I think, because, like, you have, like, even official documents like our birth certificate, like, are bilinguals, right? We have Malay and English. So yes, but here, English is completely a foreign language. Like, you will not see any English signs outside or even on TVs. Like, the only language that that is, you know, that you can hear on the media, like on television and movies here, for example, are French. Even the original versions of movies, of English movies I'm talking about, are screened in French. So English is really, really foreign, like here. And then so that poses a big challenge actually, because like the fact that the students actually receive very little stimulus, language stimulus, excuse me, from their immediate environment, like affects a lot in the way how English language teaching and practices is in the mainstream classroom here. Sorry, excuse me. All right. And then, so those are the challenges, I would say. All right. I would just share a few slides that I have prepared so that it would assist you in sort of following the point that I'm trying to get across. Okay. All right. Just bear with me for a second.
I don't know what happened.
All right. Tashi.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. It's there, I think. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. This is my first time actually on StreamYard, so I'm still trying to navigate this. All right. So, first, yes, going back to my point, why I say here is an EFL language environment, as in, in comparison to Malaysia, I would say Malaysia is really rich ESL language environment, and that's why I feel like the methods that I used to use when I was teaching in Malaysia and that I am using now are they're similar, but with very slight differences because of the language environment here. All right, so why it is an EFL language environment? First, it's because obviously it's very limited exposure to English in the immediate language environment, be it at school, home, or in the society. So the only place that the students hear English here is in the English lesson in the at school, if they have one, and even so, not all schools are equipped or are lucky enough to have an English lesson. So it depends on where you live actually. So some schools would have I'm talking about primary context, yeah. So some schools would have 1 or 2 hours maximum of English instruction if you are in primary. So I'm talking about age 7 to around 10. So if you are lucky, if you are in a good school with a good funding from the town hall, then you can be lucky. You can afford to have this English language instruction at your school. And if not, then the only place you can get exposed to English is by going to a language school outside of school. And the official language instruction starts in junior high school. So they officially start when they are around 12 actually. So that is when they learn to actually write and read. So before that, the only instruction that they have in English is only oral. It could be grammar or speaking lessons, but it's just oral without any writing or reading at all. All right. So I was just mentioning that so that you will see why, in certain instruction, in certain pedagogies certain approaches that I use later on is quite, different in any term, including classroom management and all. Okay. And then, so how do I cope up with all these challenges? All right. So I'm just going briefly on this. So gaining trust, yes, obviously you have to prove yourself. So you have to be consistent. So consistency in performance, that's the key, I think. So we have 2 audits at school. So we have internal and external audit. So internal is from your coordinator at school, and external is when you have somebody from the head office coming over and to observe your lesson. And the audit here, it's more actually, I don't know, it's less it's not really paper audit. That's what I mean. Like they have like the observers coming to observe the lesson and mark the lesson itself. All right. And yeah, and then tell you where you are and what you have to do and such. And then the second challenge would be the language barrier. Obviously here it's French. So what can I do is I speak French a little bit. I mean, like you have to learn at any point. So, and then but in the worst case scenario, I would ask for the coordinator for help, and they are really helpful actually. And then yes. But sometimes it is quite funny in the sense that when we talk about like, like when you conduct a lesson, then it has to be 100% immersion, I think it is a good idea. I mean, I completely agree with it. I'm not saying that it is a bad thing. I completely agree with it. But sometimes I think in certain situations, it's really difficult. Like, yeah. So like, for example, in classroom management, at some point when you cannot really you can't really get hold of the situation anymore, then you just switch. Like because they're like, they don't understand at all. So in any case, you have to switch to the mother tongue. Like, yeah, I don't know. In Malaysia, probably it's easier because anyhow, like if you say something, even though the kids, they can't speak, but they understand. But here, like it's common to see that the children do not understand. So yes. Yeah. And then, all right. So that, and then teaching in an EFL language environment, you would see that like the strategies are slightly different in the sense that like everything needs to be simpler, but simpler, but with the same the same level of content that you wanted, the same level of message that you wanted to get across, but you have to simplify it a lot. All right. So basically, the first strategy I use is obviously to simplify my instructions. So I'm referring to both instructions that are related to classroom management and also task-related instruction. So for example, what do I do is quite simple. I think this is really going back to the basic, all right? There is nothing extraordinary about it. So like, I just break my instructions. So I use simpler expressions instead. Like, for example, if, if I see a group of students are chatting, instead of saying, can you please stop chatting, please? Like, it's too long for them. Like sometimes these, when you do not speak a foreign language, I mean, I had this experience, so I kind of understand what's going on with them. When you hear something like, when you do not understand something, like it sounds like, just a sound, like just a wave, like, oh, what? Yeah. So basically, so instead of saying something long, I would just say, shh, time to listen, yes, this kind of thing. I know it's like sign languages a lot, I think, but yeah, I think that is something that I find quite funny. Like now, I mean, in the sense that, I never really thought about this before I teach in an EFL language context, because in Malaysia, like I never really have to come to that point to actually manage a classroom. Yeah. And then
all right, Tika, let's say one of the points that you point out is that you have to resort to your the mother tongue for you to actually be able for the kids to be able to understand you. All right, I think is it similar to you, Ma? Because you are teaching in SJKC, right? Okay, what's the background like there in SJKC? Is English the first language? I'm sure it's not, right?
Of course not. Yeah. Okay. So let me give you some introduction of the context that I'm teaching right now. I'm currently teaching in a new village in Klang, which is not actually located in the middle of the city. So it's quite far away from the city, actually. So the first language that they speak actually is the Hokkien dialect, which is a dialect of Chinese. And then Mandarin is considered as their second language, Malay as their third language. So according to this order, English would be their fourth language. So it is actually quite difficult for a Chinese school student to acquire 3 languages at the same time. I used to be one of them. So yeah, I can feel their struggle there actually. Yep.
Oh,
So
all right.
what's your next question? What is your next question again?
Like Tiha, she resorted to the mother tongue, one mother tongue. What about you? How do you make the students understand what you're saying? In terms of instruction to them?
In our context, it is very different from Fatihah's context because they are allowed to use the mother tongue. In our teaching here, we are not encouraged to use the first language of the students. So anyway, we still need to give instructions in English, but the strategies that we use, maybe we can slow down the speed when we talk. When we give the instruction, we can speak more slowly. We can use a lot of gestures, right? I believe that teachers are good actors, so they can give good gestures as well. And of course, I think it helps a lot as well when we are doing online teaching nowadays. We can just put the instructions in words on the PowerPoint slides. That is good enough for us to deliver, to send our message across. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Okay. What about you, Sume? Speaking from a parent point of view, all right. So Medina is like your daughter, all right. So how does she face any challenges in school being an ESL learner?
Okay. Do I bring about my presentation or I just answer to your question now? Do I just?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we can. Yeah.
Okay. So Zahira, if you can bring up my presentation, that would be great. So before I answer that question, I would just have to give you a little bit of the disclaimer. So this is just sharing based on my personal experience, and based on my child experience. So I totally understand that everyone has different background, different styles, and different needs. And even talking about this experience, the context is in just one state in Australia, which is in Queensland. So maybe different states have different strategies handling ESL learner. But what I notice, because we come from Malaysia, so Malay is our first language. So English is definitely our second language, or some people call it additional language, right? So the major issues that I find in Medina when learning English is basically just understanding the standard Australian English. Probably there are some vocabulary that she's not familiar with. And obviously being like a 5-year-old at that time when she entered public school, she doesn't have enough English vocabulary, with her going into the classroom. And one more, I think the biggest issue that I saw in her is when she entered, like a new environment, totally like a foreign environment. Obviously, the confidence is one of the big issues that I see in her going about learning in school, not only English, but other subjects as well. Yeah. So that's how the issues that Medina faced. So the strategies that the teacher used, do you want me to share the slides now?
All right. Okay. Maybe later we can go back to
All right.
first.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. If you would like to carry on with the second strategy that you've used.
Okay.
Challenges.
Sure. I'm just going to share my screen again.
All right.
Oops. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So the second strategy that I use is obviously when when very little exposure to English is the challenge, then one of the things that I could use is to help the students to visualize as much as possible. So in both aspects, I mean, in classroom management and also in task related instruction. So for my classroom management, what I use is I think this is quite simple. I'm sure there is nothing special about it. So I use behavior board but I made it simple, like, so that it's easier to communicate the message with them. And while using this board, I try to make use of, the opportunities to use this as an as a platform to allow them to actually interact with the language. So for example, if they do something, so basically we start at yellow, and if they do something good, then I would take that opportunity to move them up, and also to say, I'm happy because you are listening. So in that sense, they know, it gives them context to actually learn the language as well. All right. So I find this really effective for younger ones, for CP, CAR, CA2, so they are like 6, 7, and 8 years old. All right. But then for older children, they are more mature. Yeah. So like they don't really like it when it's too childish. So I use this one for them, like to promote, like I find this one as a good strategy to actually promote good behavior as a collective effort instead of just focusing on persons. So for older children, I would use this racing track. So it's based on, how many tasks that they have to complete within a lesson. So basically they will move forward the dots, and then if someone misbehave, or if someone doesn't really focus on the task, then we will go forward. But I think it would work if we add some rewards to it at the end, because that's the most exciting part of it anyway. So they wanted the surprise. So what I do is I add some element of surprise in it. So if they manage to sorry, if they manage to arrive at the finish line, then they would have a surprise gift in a surprise box for them. Okay, they are stickers normally, but they love stickers. Or sometimes we also use, laminated. It's called bon point. So it's good points. So laminated good points card, but they are excited about it because they can. Sorry, it's because they're excited to have it and to be able to show them to the parents. So excuse me, sorry. By the end of the day, they would go home and j'ai un bon point aujourd'hui. Like, I have a good point today. So that's something they're really excited about. So I think the key is to make use of every opportunity to sort of encourage them to learn. I'm sorry, because obviously here English is so foreign, and then it's true that Ma said what was it? Yeah, I think when you are in a when you are in a foreign language, or when English is not really a second language, or where or I'm sorry, or when you live in a in a context where you can't really see the importance of English, it's really difficult, for the students to sort of really be motivated, because especially at the younger age, when they don't really understand anything, they cannot really, I don't know, for younger ones, for year 1, for example, 7, 8 years old, they cannot why do I have to learn English at this point, So I think it's really important to sort of make them excited. Yeah. And then sorry. So basically the strategies that I also use to help the students to visualize when it comes to task related instructions are a lot of gestures. A lot. When I say gestures, and a lot, I think the differences between teaching here and when I was teaching in Malaysia is that I obviously we are trained to use gestures. I use gestures when I was teaching in Malaysia too, but I never really use it extensively. For example, for something simple, to say, can you please sit down? I do, sometimes the students in Malaysia, they already understand, right? I do not really have to go, can you please sit down? Or else they'll be like, teacher, are you crazy? I know what you're talking about, right? Yeah, so, and then, yeah, so, but here gestures are really important because they don't understand like much. And then the second thing I use is to use visual aids. It can be in the form of flashcards or animated PowerPoint presentations. But what I noticed about using visual aids is the importance on accuracy. So like, for example, like this, honestly, like this is the things that before I never really paid so much attention in. But here, because the context is only speaking and also like EFL, so it's really important for them to really get accurate messages of what I'm trying to convey. So I find that it is really important to have your visual aids to be accurate. So like, for example, if I am introducing a singular, like if I am teaching a singular concept, for example, so to ask, for example, we are doing, like a topic on classroom, and then it's a lesson on singular. So to show them this, to ask a question, what is it? All right, to ask what is it. So I would show just a single object to indicate that it's a singular. And I find this really important because like later on when they progresses, when they come into plural, then they already understand that. Because I mean, here the problem is in Malaysia, you have the privilege of being able to explain grammar to the children because they are ESL learners, right? But here, I do not have the privilege to actually explain grammar. Like before, when I was teaching in Malaysia, I can just say, what is it? It's a pen. A pen, it's singular. When it's one, it's singular. I have that privilege of saying that, and the students like understands, right?
Yeah.
But here, no, they don't. It's simple, but they do not understand. So it's important to sort of make them see what I want, to make them see what what messages or what language content does the teacher wanted to focus on at a specific moment, for example. So I would definitely use one object photo to say for singular, and many objects for if the questions are in plural, for example. I mean, these are just examples. Yeah. So and also, like if I say it's rainy, I would show this photo instead of this photo, because here, like it's stormy, but I guess my point is that, these little tiny details that we tend to miss out sometimes, but in a foreign language context, it is really important to pay attention to this tiny detail, because it affects like the students' understanding, actually. Yeah. And then all right, so we were talking about gestures and visuals. If you guys want, all right, let me just show you like a lesson, like a lesson that we had. So yes, to just sort of like give a visual of what actually I'm talking about. Yeah. All right, just a second. So okay, so this is one of the lessons that we actually had in the normal classroom.
Do you want to go to the zoo again today? Yes? Alright. What can we see?
Oh, sorry. I probably should mention. So these are like a collective group. So we have students from the age of eco-maternelle. So they're like from 5 up until CMR, so up until 10 years old. Because normally they are in like eco-maternelle and primary schools are in the same complex normally here. So they are treated as a one, how do you say, one school, one organization? No, I don't know what. Yeah, you know what I mean, right? All right. Okay. All right. So,
At the zoo. Can somebody tell me what can we see at the zoo? Yes. A lion. We can see lions. Very good. Yeah, the lions. Very good. We can see lions. Yeah, the lions. What else can we see at the zoo?
and sorry, and then it is quite funny too. Like with younger learners, when you try to introduce a new language, the fact that they actually do not understand language, the concept of language itself, like it depends. Some of them, I think, don't really understand the concept of a language. So, for example, in this video, like the teacher, I was saying these are the lions, and then they would say, like the younger ones actually say, no, Leon. I mean, for them, in their perception, in their brain, I am wrong because it's Leon, not lions. So that is another challenge. I mean, something's like very tiny thing, but because outside they do not have the contact with English, so it is foreign. They don't know what's going on. I mean, yeah. That's what my point is.
We can see monkeys. What else can we see at the zoo? We can see. Huh? We can see. Yes, we can see bears. We can see bears. And what else? A wolf. Very good. We can see wolves at the zoo. Okay, let's go to the zoo, everyone. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
One ticket for me, please. And 1, 2. Can somebody help me to count, please? Let's count together, everyone. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And 16 tickets for them, please.
That will be 100 euros.
100 euros?
Yes.
Oh dear, I've only got 10 euros. Have you got any money to buy the tickets? I haven't got enough money. Thank you. Yay. Can I have the money for the tickets, please? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Shakur, can I have some money for the tickets? Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Celeste. There you go.
Thank you. Here's your tickets
Thank you.
and a map of the zoo.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful time.
Excellent. Here are our tickets. Can someone keep this ticket for me? Can you keep this ticket for us, please? And here is a map of the zoo. Which way shall we go first? Shall we go this way or that way? That way? All right, let's go that way. Look, it's a crocodile. Look at its big mouth. Can you do a big crocodile's mouth? Can I see a crocodile's mouth? Look at its big mouth. Where? Look, it's a bear. Look at its brown fur. Now, which way shall we go? Shall we go this way or that way?
This way.
This way? This way? Let's go this way. Look! It's a lion! Look at its beautiful mane. Listen to its roar. Oh, I wish I could roar like that. Listen. Well. Anyway, now, which way shall we go? Shall we go this way or that way?
That
All right.
Wow, looks interesting.
All
you
right.
do love gestures, right? Like
Yeah.
mouth that way, this way.
Yeah. So basically, because, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, we haven't got any, like, we do not teach any reading or writing, just oral English. So the instructions are actually, like, we use a lot of storytelling and, yeah, this kind of thing. Yes. Basically, yeah.
All right. Okay. So that were the challenges that Fatihah faced when she's teaching in France. All right. Let's hear it from Sumay. All right, Sumay.
Yes.
As okay, you mentioned a few. One of the challenges that your daughter faced as a ESL learner is confidence. All right. So
Yes.
any other issues that your daughter faced where as a ESL learner there?
I guess the biggest challenge was really about the confidence, because when even as adults, right, when we are entering like a new place where we don't know anyone, that is one of the things that would trigger our confidence level, our self-esteem. And then you hear things that is foreign, like what Tiha mentioned just now, English, probably because in Malaysia, English is taught really early, from even in pre-kindergarten. We have been teaching English to our children. So probably that helped a bit with her self-esteem and her confidence level. It's just that when obviously you don't really just learn oral here in Australia, because it's a first language. So being an ESL learner in Australia, you have three, basically, do I say responsibilities? You have to learn English as a language, and you have to learn through English, which means you have to learn numeracy, science, everything in English, and you have to learn about English. So it's this added pressure, not only to my child, but also to me as a parent. And obviously, but I do trust the teachers. They are trained to do this. So they have been implementing strategies that are really, I find it very high, in fact, impactful. So that I'm not sure. I think some of the teachers in Malaysia have been doing this, but there are some that I think not really being emphasized much. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's the challenges Medina faced.
All right. So how is she now? Is she be more confident in speaking English?
Okay, so due to the high impact, yes. Can we go to the next slide, please? So yes, so the high impact strategies that I told you guys about just now. So in the school, so mind you, this is a public school, so it's not like a private school where they have tons of resources. So they have this program where it's called reading, sight words. So if you can see on the top my right hand side, I don't know the audience left or right, but if you can see that blue sight word cards that are attached on the ring holder, so the key ring holder. So basically this is called rainbow sight words. So every day, every child has their own checky folder, like a bag, where the teacher would put this rainbow cards in it. Every day, we have to basically read the sight words at home. So when they go to school, the teacher or the teacher aides would read with them, so to see where they are at with the sight words. So I say it's called rainbow because if you can see here, this is blue color, right? So when my child has like covered all the sight words on that blue color, she will move to a different color. So that's how they know they progress on that sight words strategy. And then there's a reading on the run activity where inside the folder, same checky folder, the teacher would put a home reading diary, a very thin one, and then they will slip a book, like a picture book, because we have to understand not all families, even in Australia or wherever you are, not all families have books at home. So I guess in the technology, in the modern era, not probably a lot of people have drifted to reading ebooks. That's great, but I personally love books. I don't know why. So basically, the teacher will put one book which is catered to my child's level. So you see the sight words that they have mastered, and then the book will be aligned to that sight words. So this home reader, we call it home reader, on that diary, there are a few strategies. If you can see there, I hope the audience can see it. I can share this later with the audience. So basically, on that reading diary, there are a few strategies on reading. So they use animal like tiger eye or snake eye, something like that. So that really helps the parents. Like for me, probably because I have a background in teaching, but you have to remember not all parents have the knowledge, especially in reading, in teaching English, right? So this really helps the parents when they are reading the book together with the child at home. It's either you read with your child, or your child, if she or he is ready to read, just do it together. And at the back of the home reading diary, if you can read it, after reading with your child, there are a few questions that you can go through with your child. Like what happens, how do you feel when you read that, or which page do you like, which page you do not like, just talk about the book with your child. And so this goes to school every day with your child. So basically, it goes back to you, and then it goes back to the teacher every day, right? And they also have this Haggerty, because my child is very excited with Haggerty. You know why? Because the teacher used a lot of gestures like Fatihah, because when they use the phonics thing, so they use a lot of hand gestures together with that. So she really remember like to tiger. So there are specific hand gestures. I don't know. I'm not expert in that, so I can't share it here. But I know a lot of teachers know about that. And the one thing that is really helpful about the self-esteem, remember I said about the challenge. One of the challenges of the confidence level, it's pasted everywhere. That is okay to not know, but it's not okay to not try. Like it's part of the growth mindset that they're trying to encourage, I would say, instill to the students, to the young learners, because it's not easy. Learning English as an additional language is not easy. Can I get to the next slides, please, Zahira? Right. So, and they also have, so basically all the activities and the strategies are very aligned. As you can see on the picture where they have reading groups. So in the classroom, they have reading groups like turtle reading groups. I don't know what animals Medina in right now. So basically they go into reading groups. I didn't ask specifically how do they group the students, but I would guess it's according to the level of the children. So it's the same level, so the teacher can actually focus on, like looking at specific progress that the students are making in terms of reading. So, and then, obviously they role play, they read a lot to each other. And if you see that soft toy there, that is one of the activities that got Medina so interested in the school, is because they can choose to do show and tell. So show and tell is actually like I don't know, do I say like a reward? Like if you do good things at school or you behave well, then you can like, can I do show and tell? Like, because even though you don't have the vocabulary, I would say, but we want to encourage the children to really be interested. Actually, they are very motivated to share their favorite toy, not using English per se, but indirectly, they get to use English and practice and help with their self-esteem and confidence. So that's why it leads to the positive behavior for learning. That is one of the I would say the focus, the growth mindset, and getting motivated to learn, even though it's hard, it's all right. So everyone is like enjoying English lessons. Yeah.
Oh. All right. So there's a question from our viewers. One of our viewers. All right. How old is Medina and what level she will be in Malaysia?
Oh, currently she is 6. So in Malaysia she will be in, is it prasekolah?
Prasekolah.
But here, because they obviously it's complicated, the system using birth months and everything. So she is already in grade 1.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So now let's hear it from Ma. All right, Ma. There's like Tiha in France, she used gestures, and then for Sumayyah, her daughter, the teacher actually helped to give like reading strategies and all to help the learners at home. So what other strategies have you used to actually help your second language learners at school, Ma?
Okay. There were a lot of things that were shared by Tihar just now. Okay, so we go back to what she mentioned just now. Just now she mentioned about visualizing the expectations. Okay, visualizing the expectation that they need to achieve in a single lesson. And in Malaysia, I'm going to remind, or maybe to rephrase the magical term that you have been hearing all the time, which are the learning objectives and the success criteria. I'm sure that most of the teachers are very, very familiar with that, because after the set induction, usually we will write the learning objectives and the success criteria on the board, so the students would know what they are expected to do in that lesson. So from that, our teaching activities will not go astray from what we are teaching as well, right? So talking about, I think she also mentioned about some of the strategies that they use to enhance students' good behavior, right? So in my case, okay, in Chinese school, I think most of the Chinese schools are like this. Okay, there would be a corner, a specialized corner for the class teacher to display students' behavioral scores. So I think most of the classroom have that, and whenever the students showed some good behavior, we will add on their points in that corner. All right. And also in terms of their written work, because in Malaysia there are more written work compared with France and maybe Australia. So we would give some reward stickers to the students to sort of motivate them in producing neat and good work. Right? I'm sure all the teachers are very familiar with those strategies. Actually, those stickers are very easily obtainable. You can buy them at a very low price at Mr. DIY. If you are creative, you can make the stickers on your own. Okay, these stickers are actually made by my colleague.
Oh, that's nice. All right. Okay. Ma, are you still with us? All right. Okay. All right. Ma is having some technical issues there. All right. Never mind. Let's. I would like to know more. All right, Tiha, as a teacher in France. Okay.
Yeah.
Hello,
all right,
can you still hear me?
All right, yeah.
So
Okay.
where did I stop just now?
Well, you mentioned that we can get stickers from Mr. DIY.
Oh yeah. So you can get it everywhere actually. It's also easily accessible in Shopee and places like that. Yeah. But actually, in my school context, actually we have a team of teachers. Okay, because my school is a very big school. We have got about 13 English language teachers.
Oh.
So we usually work together to make teaching aids. So we don't burden ourselves too much in the preparation of the teaching aids. Like for example, we prepare our teaching aids based on the topics, that we are teaching. We assign the task to them, so each teacher will be in charge of a specific topic. So we are sharing our teaching aids together. Like for this one, we have this quiz trait cards that is shared among our teachers. So we try to sort of like solve our teaching problems together in order to make sure that our students can improve their level of proficiency. Okay, talking about Sumei's point that she mentioned something about the reading program, right?
Yeah.
So in my school is collaborating with an NGO, MCII, in a program called My Readers Program. In that program, they are using an online module, and they will select a few students which are guided by the parents to complete the online modules together. The role of the teacher is to facilitate the process and to report students' progress after completing the module. Yeah, so I think the module is quite similar with what is shared by Sumay as well. Yeah, so this is the situation this is the context here in Malaysia in terms of the points mentioned by Sumay as well as Fatihah. Yeah. I would also like to invite all the teachers to share your strategies as well, because it is supposed to be a coffee talk.
Yeah.
It is supposed to be a coffee talk, so we welcome all your comments and your suggestions as well. Yeah, because I don't think I am representative enough to represent all the teachers in Malaysia. That is too big for me. Yeah. All right. So thank you.
All right, yeah, the viewers out
Over
there,
to you.
comments, do drop in the chat box. All right, so we can learn from each other. All right. Okay, so now I would like to know more from Tiha. All right, Tiha, in order for you to actually support and engage your learners, all right, in the lesson, all right, what are the curriculum strategies that you've implemented in your classroom?
All right. So, okay. So before I come back to that, like I think somebody mentioned about, something cultural, and I think it was Sume. Yeah, probably Sume. Like it is true that actually, you have different types of learners. Like in different cultures, you have different types of learners. Like here, I found that like the learners here are really they really prefer, they love moving. All right, that's what I wanted to say. Yes, they love moving, so like the fact that they love moving and engaging in doing instead of like, I don't know, but in Malaysia, when I was teaching, I have children. I mean, even for me, like, I do not mind listening to my teacher. I mean, I do not have any problem with that, But here, I find that the children, they just need to move. And if they do not move, then they cannot concentrate and they don't really learn. I think probably it's really cultural, I think, yeah. And then so, because of that fact, then most of the strategies that I use are quite they are kinesthetic to say, or like it involves a lot of movement, even when we play games, it has to be active, it has to be interactive, like they have to do something, even something simple, even the fact that they are changing cards, but still, like, they have to do something instead of just sitting down and listen. All right, so basically what I use a lot in my lessons are games, obviously. So we use a lot of like games, like snake and ladder, for example. Snake and ladder game. So I have a set of questions related to the language objective for that lesson in different numbers. So when they roll the die, then they stop at the specific number, then they answer the question. Or I think that is doable for, like, I do that for like large classroom size, large, let's say around 15, 15 to 20 kids, yeah. Because basically, like, I work with I do many lessons actually, because like I work with homeroom teachers.
Mhm.
So I have so I am assisting I have 12 lessons, 12 lessons with 12 different schools. So yes. Yeah. And then
Whoa.
and then
Wow,
yeah. So
that's a lot.
yeah, and then I think it's the challenge too is that I think as teachers we have to for me, in order for me to work with the children, I think if you are teachers, you will feel that it is really important for you to really connect with the students, right? Like to
Yes.
really know them, to really know their names, to really know their faces. Yeah, I think
Yes.
that is important for me. Yeah. And yeah, and having 12 schools, it's, and you know, with so many kids, it's quite challenging too. And then so basically I use a lot of communicative approach, obviously, so a lot of games. So we play snake and ladder, and then like we play I remember last time when we learned about houses. I don't know, but we are using this book. It's from Oxford Trinity. I know you guys are using Swermines like Cambridge, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but we are using both, like, but more Trinity, because it's just oral, whereas like Cambridge you have 4 skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Mhm.
yeah, so when we did a lesson on a class on houses, for example, so I play hide and seek. So basically, like, the children pick a room and they pretend to like hide in the room, and then like the other children, like the rest of the classmates, would be guessing like, are you in? But really the focus is for them to actually use the language. And then I would always try to make them use the language in a full structure rather than just single word, because really, like, with, you know, like the contact that they have with English is really limited. So I think it's really important to maximize, you know, any chances that you've got to actually make them produce, like, to actively produce the language. It's really important to sort of like make use of that. Yes. And then of course we play memory game, miming game, you know, when we do animals, for example, who am I, like, yeah, they love that one, especially the younger children. And then battleships. Battleships is really interesting. I think when they learn lattice, but I don't know. But in Malaysia, probably because you guys do phonics, right? So probably it could be interesting to play battleships. But yeah, with phonics instead of the lattice, then you can replace it with a sound. Yeah, and then of course we do a lot of songs, you know, games
Oh.
too. All right, I am just going to show you another like uh example of like, it's simple really, but yeah, this is like what we do in during the online lesson. I know it's challenging. Like, the challenge is in here is that, like, because in the physical classroom, it's a lot of, you know, it's really just oral. So a lot of movements, a lot of kids doing things. So that consistency has to be carried on when you do online lessons too. So yeah, so like I remember, like, when we do the online lessons, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? You know, like, some games you cannot really transform into, you know, like you know, like
Yeah.
online. Yeah, so
Mhm.
all right, so I'm just going to show you an example of what we do during the online lesson that we had before, like when we had the lockdown a few yeah, like I think
Tina, before
yeah.
that,
Mm-hmm.
just out of curiosity, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, how
Mm-hmm.
involved are the parents in terms of their children's learning? Like, if you were to compare in Australia, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So, like Sumi mentioned just now,
Mm-hmm.
the parents in Australia, they help their children to read the book. If you, for example, that Sumi shared just now. So, how
Mm-hmm.
involved are parents in their children's learning
Oops.
in terms of online learning? Just mention.
uh Hang on.
All right.
Sorry, I'm facing some technical issue with my thing. All right. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
All right. Parents' involvement, I would say positive.
Mhm.
They are really excited about having their children to learn English. because they actually know. I mean, they are aware, or they are like it's a good thing for them that to have their kids learn English. They know the importance of it. But like I said, like English is really a foreign language here, so it is really, it is common that like most of the parents do not speak English actually at all. So whatever they can assist at home is really limited. But obviously they would, like, yeah, but yeah, it's just that it's limited, yeah. But they are really enthusiastic. They are really enthusiastic parents so far. Like we've never really faced any problem, like with parents who complain that it's something like that. But and here I think the good thing that I quite like is that the parents trust the teachers, in the sense that they really trust you in doing your job. They really trust you that you have the, I mean, if you are hired, then they trust you, like you have the capacity, you have all the skills that you need to actually educate my child. So they wouldn't question, why is it like this? Why shouldn't it be like that? It's really rare to see parents questioning the teachers. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So they sort of respect you in the sense that they trust your methods. They trust your how you deal with their children. So like, for example, if you have kids who are really bad at like who do not really behave at all, like it's like that would go directly to the director, and the director would address it directly with the parents, and the parents of the children normally would never say like yeah, but he did this because of that. It's really rare to see parents actually back up the children here. Most of them are like, they trust the teachers, and so when they go home, then they would talk to the children, and they would like they would support whatever the teachers are doing, in the sense that they would re-educate the children on whatever that is wrong. I mean, on that issue that was raised at school, but like it would go on at home. Yeah. So I think that's the good thing about it. Like, yeah, I think the Malaysian parents are supportive too. But it's also, sometimes you will have some parents who are not really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm being a bit too direct, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think that is important. The fact that like the society has to trust us.
Yeah.
I mean,
True.
yeah. I mean, like,
Right.
yes.
Right. Ma, what are your thoughts on that? Like having been a teacher for a few years now. So what do you think about the trust of teachers?
I do quite agree with Fatihah's point regarding this trust issue, but I believe that since now we are having online classes, right? It is the time for us to build our trust with our parents. Actually, it is the golden time for us to do so, because if we conduct our lesson well, if we enter our class on time, if we be punctual, if we prepare our lessons well, I think parents would have their trust on us, because I believe that there are many parents who are watching our online teaching nowadays. So yeah, if we conduct our online lessons well, I think it is a good chance for us to redeem ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, reading ourselves.
True.
All right. Yeah, Fatihah, you would like to share your video? Yeah, all right to go now?
Yeah, okay.
All right.
All right. Hang on. All right. Just a second. Okay.
Sumata, yes.
All right, so just let me just explain the context first. So basically, this is an online lesson. The children are actually at school with their homeroom teacher, but I have the privilege to work from home because of the COVID. So I conduct the lesson from home. So basically, the children are at school with the homeroom teacher, and so the homeroom teacher put them on the screen. I mean, on screen, in groups. Yeah.
Many arms? How many arms has the monster got? How many arms has the monster got? Four. Very good. Four. So he has got monster four. He has got four arms. He has got four. Four? Yes. Very good. All right. Now, Farah, how many legs? How many legs has the monster got? He has. Very good. He has got. Yes. How many? Yes. Well done. Very good. Okay, now let's play guess which monster is it? It's your turn, I think, right? So Farah, pick a monster. Are you ready? Yes? Okay. Now tell me, what does your monster look like? How many eyes has he got? For example, he has got... Yes? Okay. How many eyes has he got? He has got one eye or he has got two eyes. How many? He has got three eyes. What color is your monster? He is purple? What about his ears? How many ears has he got?
He has got two.
Very good. What about his legs? How many legs has he got?
He has got three legs.
Very good. I think I know which one is it, Farah. Is it C?
Yes.
Yes, it is?
Yes.
All right, yay. Okay, now, Fatumata, what does your monster look like?
Okay, so basically, like what I wanted to draw everyone's attention on is that, like, I don't know, but like for me, I mean for us in our context, because like the children are not really exposed to English outside of the school, so it is really important for them to, like to try to actually construct a structure rather than just words. I think, but I personally feel that, as they progress, it sort of helped them to be able to use this, the vocabularies that they learn in descriptive, when they have to describe, when they have to use the descriptive language, like later on as they progresses in later grades. Yeah. So normally, like when we play games, then we always use like full structures as well. Yeah. And then hang on just a second, sorry guys.
All right.
And then I just lost, yeah, there you go, I lost my screen, that's all. Okay. So all right, there you go. So basically, and also like all right. All right. Okay. Oh, sorry. And then, like, yeah. And then, what I mean, like, what I find important as well is that like differentiation. So I think it's important that like to base to base the strategies that we use to support the learners based on their levels of proficiency and the type of learners they are. So for example, like with my use of visual aids, um like uh like I use them, I mean the amounts that I use them depends on like their proficiency. And then it's important that I really know when to take out less support. So it's really important to exactly know my students, like, now I think he is more capable, so now it is time for me to take out that visual support, because now I want him to to independently remember the structures or the words related to what I'm to that lesson. All right. And then we also use a lot of songs actually too, because yeah, they like to move. So yeah. Yes, but also it is common. Obviously, like most of them, they love moving, but there would be one or two children who are what do you say, introverts? Introvert, is that the right term? Yeah, like who don't really, who are not really kinesthetic like the rest. Yeah, so like, but because the rest are are kinesthetic, so obviously we use a lot of songs, but I also have to cater to these few kids, right, who are not really kinesthetic, but I'm using the songs. So in that case, um I always try to use the songs in the way that allow the children to actively interact with the language. What I'm trying to say is that, in the sense that normally, like when we use songs, and if we just let the children watch, like a songs clip, for example, in the classroom, obviously, like, the children would watch the songs, but there is very little interaction, like active interaction that actually is going on between the learners and that stimulus. Are you yeah, do you know? Yes, yes. So I mean, it's more like passive
Listening.
listening, exactly, like passive receival of information, instead of active interaction with that stimulus.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is, like, I would like them to actually engage with that stimulus. If they are kinesthetic, they can dance to the song, because when they perform the action, they actually it helps to remember the words or the sentences, actually. Or if they are not very kinesthetic, then I still would like them to interact with that stimulus. So this is something that I learn from, like, my other job, teaching as well, but it's not at, so we use like this type of, like a story song sheet. So basically they will listen to the song, and then the kids who do not really like to dance or move, they can just sit and they point to the song, to the images, so at least they are doing something. Yeah, so basically, if it goes like what is this is like, so if the zookeeper is very cruel, so they will point to the right images, and then as they listen to the song, and then the one who like to dance, they will dance to it. Yeah, but I think, like, the point that I would like to make here is that, like, I think it's very important to try to use the stimulus that to actively actually engage the children with the stimulus, not just obviously, like, in certain cases, like, we see many teachers use songs, but the children are just watching the songs. I guess some of them, but most of us, I'm sure, like, we are very capable teachers, all of us. So yeah, yeah. So that's it, I think. And then obviously the elements of surprises to keep them, interested. And then I like to make it meaningful for them, like, this is normally, sometimes I use this as a reward. Like the other day we are doing, the monsters that we learn descriptions. So they will draw, like their monsters, and then they will describe it, and then the best monster, like I'll make a tote bag for them, so they're like happy. So the idea behind this is that, like, when they see the tote bag, at least then, whatever they have learned, it sort of like reminds them again. I know this little thing, but I think it's important that we, like in my context, because it's really, like, it's EFL, so it's important to always make use of every opportunity that is there to sort of to help them to at least stay motivated to actually learn English. Yes, because it is true that in some home, for example, in some home, um, like, it is difficult for the children to actually understand why they have to learn English, because, like, in Malaysia, for example, like, the children, they know they have to learn English, obviously because we speak it in the country, and also obviously because, like, I want to go travel, so I have to learn English. I want to study abroad, I have to learn English. But here it's like, it's really like in some homes, especially if you go to a very low social background, where families with low social backgrounds live, the children, it's how do I say this, like, the idea of traveling, they do not have this idea of traveling abroad, so they don't know, like, they cannot relate to the purpose of, of learning English. And and then they'll be like, yeah, I am not going anywhere, I will stay here in France, you know like, yeah. But if you go to a better area, like, where the families are quite, like, affluent, then obviously, like, you will see kids who are really motivated because they travel, and then they, oh yeah, when I'm big, like, I wanted to, study abroad. And but the point is that, like, to actually have them to stay motivated is already a challenge. So I'm trying to make use of that to sort of keep them interested in learning English. Yes. All right.
All right, so there you have it. A few strategies that Miss Fatihah has used in her classroom. All right, let's hear it from a parent point of view. All right, so Sume, all right, could you just share with us and the audience here, what are some of the useful strategies the teachers have used that you found like really helping your daughter as a second language learner?
Okay. I forgot to mention earlier that in the curriculum itself, the Australian curriculum itself, there is a resource that's called English as an Additional Language or Dialect resource. So it comes in the form of a teacher. So basically, this EALD teacher will work together with the classroom teacher. So basically, how Australia is very multicultural, very diverse. So a lot of the kids come into the classroom with English as an additional language, as we have been discussed. So this particular teacher will bring this, basically my child and a few others whose English is not the first language. Sorry. So they will basically do a different activity that was actually the same like what Tiha mentioned, that catered to the needs. As we have discussed, all children come with their background knowledge and cultural interpretation. So it's really important to understand where your child comes from. So this additional language, English as an additional language teacher, really helps my child to, how do I say, like, probably to smoothen the transition, like she doesn't feel too overwhelmed, that knowing all the contents that the teacher is teaching somehow relatable to her. Like we don't have weather, right? We don't have snow. So probably all the vocabulary that is attached to the winter, Medina doesn't have that. because we don't have that in Malaysia. So when talking about, or even reading about winter, so I would assume this teacher would have the strategies to probably just how do I say, like, make it a little bit easier for her to understand and feel confident enough to talk about it and to use it in a sentence or in a story, I would say. So next slide, please. Because we have talk about the strategies of during online class, right? So we were very lucky because we were only stuck. Not stuck. So we only had like a very short lockdown here in Australia. And even during that lockdown period, all the children of frontliners, they go to school. So school opens, right? School opens. So basically, the teachers, so these are all the strategies that the teacher used here. So they used like a blackboard virtual classroom, no Zoom, no Google Meet whatsoever. So basically, we don't have any like a live session, I would say. Is it live online teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have that much. I would say probably maybe one or two. That was because the parents requested. See? So the teachers, because this is what has been set by the department, the education department. So basically the NILA, KPM, I would say, in Malaysia, right? Ministry of Education. So if you can see, there's no live sessions. And in that platform, there are a lot of resources for parents to support their children at home. Because the pandemic really struck everyone. So parents are very, we've never been, the young parents, we've never been into any pandemic before. Probably older parents have done this before, I don't know. But so we don't know how to support our children, right? And then, so this platform really helped because they have all the resources to us to use. And some of the families, again, don't have internet. So they go to the school to collect all the resources. The same thing is just on paper form, right? And then they also have a very flexible timetable, and it is emphasized that it's meant to be a guide. So if you can see on that timetable, it's very detailed, like how many minutes you should focus on math, for example, how many minutes you should do reading. And they don't have like specific time, like, oh, you should do from 1 to 2 or like 3 to 4. Up to you, wherever you can, because again, every family is very unique. So you just do whatever you can, right? So next slide. And also a number of offline activities, like reading, doing house chores, because not all have internet access. And an important part is that I find very different than in Malaysia is you can't contact the teacher personally, as in you can't contact the teacher out of the time given. So this is during the lockdown, right? So there's specific time slots where you can email your teacher, your classroom teacher, regarding anything. And the teacher would respond to you back. It's either they want to call you, usually they call you straight away using the school phone, but you don't have the personal number of the teacher. So you don't have WhatsApp, anything. And then obviously there are online learning apps, again, optional, because not everyone has internet. And they also have virtual assembly. So this is good because when you are stuck in your own home, like you don't see you don't see your school, right? Pretty much. Yeah. So the school is very supportive, where the teachers basically role play the assembly. So they would do the same, like there's students in front, but it's virtual. So everyone can watch the virtual assembly to just feel connected, I would say. Right. Yeah. So that is the strategies during the COVID-19 specifically. Yep, that I really like. Yeah.
All right. From the Sumayyah explained just now, we can see that the communication and actually the support from parents is really important for teachers to actually be able to do their job. All right. So it's
Yes.
the same case in Malaysia as well, right, Ma? Like, how do you actually communicate with the parents to ensure that there are continuous support from parents, especially in this online teaching?
Okay, so yeah, especially in the context of online teaching, usually our class teacher will create a Telegram group, which includes all the parents, and we as the subject teachers, we are also added into that group. So whenever there is some information about the school, then they will just post it there. And I would also use this platform to communicate with the parents as well. Yeah. Yeah, this is a way of us to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you just choose one that you think it's suitable for your kids and also the parents and also you.
Yeah, I think it's quite straightforward actually. We can just share our information there.
All right. Okay. Now, what about Tiha? All right. So from the videos that you showed us, it's evident that you've used a lot of like feedback. You know, like you praise them. All right. So, is there any other feedbacks that you use that you have used in your classroom?
Well,
motivate the students.
All right. For formal feedbacks, like we normally at the end of like trimester, at the end of trimester, like every 3 months normally, like we like send reports to the parents. So basically, it's a personalized. So each student will have a personalized report on their motivation and participation, their learning and their behavior in the classroom. So basically, like for motivation and participation, for example, so like the teacher would provide feedback on like how consistent is their motivation, how participative they are. So but like but it has to be in the way that like in the way that reflects continuous or ongoing process. So basically, if it's the first trimester, so if I am writing the second trimester report, so I always have to compare it with the first trimester. So it has to be, like, so basically what I mean is that like it has to reflect the progress rather than achievement. Yeah. In all the aspects, yes. Because what I notice is that like the parents here, maybe cultural again, what I see, like they don't care much about performance, like about the grades, but rather they prefer or they focus on how much the children progresses throughout the learning curve. Like if they started really low and then, but if they I mean, for example, you have one children who is really weak. So like like you've tried everything, but she's just weak. Like it's really difficult for her. So like with her, for example, like the parents wouldn't mind if like if you do not really, if she doesn't really objectively achieved a specific, for example, if she doesn't get 100%, they don't mind. But like but if they see that she is more motivated and she participated more, so that is what they are actually looking for. Like that is what they wanted to see actually. Yeah, so it's not really about the numbers. It's more about the process. Like
That's good. All right. So they can see the progress of their children, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So what about the situation in Australia, Sumayyah? Like speaking from a parent point of view, right? When you talk feedback, could you share with us how do teachers provide feedback? And you as a parent, do you think it's the feedback given by the teachers are helpful?
Yes, big yes, because again, going back to the issue with self-esteem and confidence, right? Being an ESL learner in Australia, where everyone speaks Aussie slang, so it's very aligned with the strategies that I have used. So remember, I said about the sideways with the ring. So when my child has finished not like okay, finish, like when she see the word, she can say it, right? So sight words. So when she has mastered the number, the all the sight words, at the end of the each 100 words, they will get a certificate. So basically, these certificates, like in Malaysia, they are very crazy about stickers, right, Ma?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
points and
Oh,
points as well.
Okay, so here the kids are crazy over certificates. Anything, they really want the certificate. So because these certificates are delivered at the assembly in front of everyone, so you can imagine how they feel, how that influence their motivation, right? So it's a simple certificate. So for sight words, they will get certificates, and then for positive behavior learning, so basically they will get the award, student of the week, for being active, how do I say, active learner, like contributing to a discussion. The reason for getting that certificate is really specific. Like for example, you get an award because you how do I say, you overcome a challenge in math, for example. So it must be really specific, because children, they don't really have, like high level knowledge of achievements and everything, but they do understand when they can achieve something. And they also have like a lot of activities during book week. I know Malaysia also has a lot of like reading month, English month or something like that. So yeah, they do a lot of activities as well. The same thing, again, about motivation and positive learning behaviors, right? Next slide. About written feedback, like a formal feedback, that is specifically for parents. So again, no gradings whatsoever, like no A, B, C, A minus, whatever. It's just focusing on whether, again, same like Tiha, progress throughout the year. So they use the word like confident, or like making connections or applying. Yeah, so we're really happy with the feedback. Even if you're not happy with it, for example, being an Asian parent, obviously you would want to know, where does my child sit in the class? I mean, in terms of, you like to compare. Being an Asian, you have to acknowledge it. And it's okay to tell the teacher that you want to know where your child sits or where your child stands, but that would be given to you discreetly. So you wouldn't, like, no one knows about it. Only you know about your child's position. Only if you ask for it, obviously. Yeah. I guess that's about feedback that we really like here. I'm sorry, I was distracted by this comment. May I know whether the lesson was created based on your student's level, or you had a specific specification that you follow, like Malaysia context, that we prepare the student to sit for exam? Okay, I'm not sure this question is actually for who.
I think it's maybe Fatihah, I think.
I think Fatihah would.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want? Shall I take it now, or?
Yeah, take it.
Yeah. All right. So, may I know whether the lesson was created based on your students' levels? Yes, obviously they are created based on the students' level. So basically, we have to base the lessons based on the CEFR2. So basically for my year one, year one, and when they first started, so we start with year one and year two, so they are like A1, and from year 3 onwards, we use we do A2. Like beginner A2, yeah, and then but the thing is that because here, like language instruction for English doesn't really officially start before they go into junior high school. So whatever that we do during the primary years are actually just a preparation for them to actually have a basic for when they start the real lesson. So so there is no official exam that they have to sit actually, but that is why like the assessment, yes, going back to what Fad asked before, I think. So that is why the assessment is more what do you say, more classroom based, or more like, so we do, instead of like exams, because they do not have official exams, so we assess them in the term of their productions, when they role play, or when they, when they sing, when they, yeah, something like that, yeah, but mostly role play, most of them, yeah, it's a lot of role play, yes. Hmm. But there is no exam, yeah.
Right. Oh, all right.
Mm.
No exam. Okay.
Yes, but
All right.
sorry, just yeah, sorry. Maybe I should add on. Like, it is true that it's role play, but it's guide. I mean, it's structured in the sense that the language that they use to do the role play must be aligned with the structures that they learn during the classroom lessons. So, for example, by the end of unit 1, when we do a classroom, when we learn about classroom, and we learned the continuous they are, so when they role play, then they have to use that structure that reflects their learning, yeah.
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 Yes. Similarly to Malaysia, though,
Mm.
we have that PBD there. We are actually moving towards that, right?
Yeah, we are
Yes,
moving towards that.
exactly. Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm.
All
And
right.
still, I think many of us are still feeling unsafe without the
Exam.
pencil and paper test.
Yeah.
Yes.
True.
Mhm.
So yeah, but we are moving towards that. So hopefully in years to come, we can, not really put really stressed on the exam, right?
Yeah, but anyway, we are still focusing on the 4 skills.
Yeah.
So yeah, the 4 skills needs to be evaluated holistically.
True. All right. So let's just one. I would like to know, Tiha, that you have experience teaching in Malaysia for a few years and also in France now. So what are the differences teaching in these two countries?
Well, the differences, I think learners are different. I think it's cultural. I guess I don't know, for some reason, and also because the fact that it's not 4 skills here, the fact that it is only oral, so it takes lots more energy. I remember at one point when we were, I don't know, but I think this was years back, when the government was contemplating whether just to start year 1 with just oral. I think it happened in Malaysia a few years back. I think, yeah, but we didn't go through with the plan, I remembered, I guess so, right? And then, but anyway, like, for me, I think it takes more energy here, in the sense that, because like there is, for example, like during the whole an hour lesson, if you teach writing, and if you teach reading, right, all the 4 skills, at least you can afford to have the children to sit and do the writing, right? So the teachers can at least, you can at least just sit as well with them and take a breath. But in an oral lesson, like, it's really intense, in the sense that you really have to keep moving, like, and also the fact that for some reason, like, they are really hyper here, the fact that they like moving, and they like, the minute, for example, like, I find with the younger learners, like, the minute you lose your eye on them, then that's when they also, like, they do not concentrate anymore on on the lesson. So I find it challenging, in the sense that, like, in managing the classroom, because it's only oral, it can be like, the students get tired easily, I find, because it's intense for them, like, like, so I think the difference is that, like, here I find I really have to, like, structure the lessons in the sense that, that allows them to not have time to get bored, you know like, what do you say, that does not have the dead time, the dead time, for example, like, I finish with one activity, so I have to be fast enough to move on to the second one. without having any dead time in the middle that allows them to actually lose their concentration already. So from one activity to the next, it really has to be smooth. And then, so because of that, like, I think, like, it is, and because because of that, I think, like, I never really have the pressure to sort of like memorize my lesson plans before when I was teaching in Malaysia. But here I really have to have everything in my head, because if I have to refer to my, like, to my lesson plan in the class, I no honestly I do not have time to, like, to go back to the lesson plan at all. So, like, the best thing I can do is to simplify, the flow of the lesson on board in points, or yeah. But, like, that's one of the main thing that I find different. Yeah. And then the second thing that is different is maybe, like Sume mentioned, like, communications with between the stakeholders.
Mhm.
I find here that, like, we are more like the it's more, what do you say, discreet, or yeah, like, for example, like, the parents obviously will not reach out to the teachers on the personal numbers, and I mean, they have the courtesy to understand that it is personal and private, like they know that it's it's a personal space. So anything that they wanted to raise about, then it would go through the director normally. But for me, because I'm not actually a homeroom teacher, I'm just, like, I'm working with the homeroom teacher. So basically it would go with the homeroom teacher then to me. But the normal flow of, like, the information would be with the director and then to the teacher. And I guess, like, the parents really respect that, and the teachers too. Like, if it coming from the director, they don't really take it as, oh no, my director, it comes from the director, and it's, yeah, but they take it, like, in a good way. Yeah.
Right. So the understanding between the teachers and also parents, okay, especially when our personal time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really important to actually, respect the teacher's personal time.
Yeah.
Also, okay, the one more question I would like to ask Sume.
Mhm.
All right, Sume, as a parent who has had both the best of both countries, Malaysia and Australia, so and you also being a teacher yourself, does it help you to understand the struggles of a teacher when you look at it from the point of view as a parent, like
Yeah.
now, especially in this pandemic?
Yeah. For obvious reasons, obviously, it's more so it's easier for me to empathize both sides, parents as well as teachers, as well as students. Sorry. So basically, because you have to understand, I guess we have to go back to the basic, where English is an additional language, is a second, third, or even fourth language. So I would say we shouldn't pressure um, everyone much, basically, and we just have to remind ourselves that as long as, again, going back to progress, as long as our child um, is progressing, then I think we should be happy enough. Like, we shouldn't be how do I say, um, obviously everyone have different needs and different styles, right?
Yeah.
But remember, these English teachers, they are all trained as, most of them are trained as TESOL, I think, English as a second language, right?
Yeah.
So we really have to educate basically everyone that English is a second language. Even though we see the importance of it, yes, so it's our job to cultivate the love for English, because it's not we're not born with it. We're born in with Malay, or in even Malay are there are different dialects. So,
Yeah.
so please, it's very hard to do because of the pressure, like the assessments, examinations. But go back to basic. Basically, you can speak English with your child at home. It's up to you. If your household is all speaking in English, great, speak English. But if you come from a family where you speak Malay or you speak Mandarin, good. Keep on speaking that language, and at the same time, encourage your child to love learning a new language, which is English in this context. So I guess provide a safe environment for everyone, for teachers, for parents, and for students, especially in these very hard times. Don't worry about it. Don't listen, because we have like a mentality where if we don't see our children doing something in front of our eyes, then they're not learning, right? So I guess we should always remind ourselves they are learning. They are always learning and constantly learning. It's just that we don't see it in front of our eyes. So basically, chill.
Chill. Yeah, good advice. Chill. All right. Oh, okay. All right. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, all right, we have come to an end of our webinar. All right. So I would like to remind all of you that could you please do not forget to fill in the Google form. It should be up now, okay, for your attendance in SPL KPM and also for the e-certificate. All right. Okay, let me remind you once again that could you please fill in this Google form for your attendance and your SPL KPM and also for e-certificate. Okay, so all right, that's all that time that we have today. All right, so thank you so much for the amazing speakers. All right, for being with us today. Okay.
Do we have certificates?
Do you still need that?
Yes,
Do you still need that? Are you still so obsessed with certificates?
Okay. So that's all time that we have. All right. I hope you have benefited a lot from these webinars, and it's an eye opener for you can see the differences between our country and our Malaysia, France, and also Australia. All right. So, all right, for the teachers out there, keep doing what you do best. All right, with teaching, and after all, what matters are the most are the children. All right, and parents, keep on supporting the teachers. All right. Okay, so that's all from me and the team. All right, so thanks again, and we'll see you all very soon. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Tia. Thanks, Sumi. Thanks,
you.
Ma. Thank you.
Bye.